All right, future teachers, welcome. If you're gearing up for the CTET exam, you know that CCE is a topic you absolutely cannot ignore. So this is your insider's guide to not just getting it, but totally mastering it. Let's jump right in. First things first, let's get our heads around the huge shift in thinking. You see, we're moving away from an old system that was obsessed with marks and high-stakes final exams to a new one that's all about the process, about actual improvement. This is a complete game changer for you and for your future students.
And really understanding why this game has changed is your first step to acing this part of the exam. Trust me, this isn't just another acronym to memorize. It's a whole new way of looking at education.
So, what in the world is CCE? Well, it stands for a Continuous and Comprehensive Evaluation, and the goal here is everything. It's not about slapping a grade on a kid. It's about taking the stress out of exams and focusing on developing the whole child. Let's break that down, because the name tells you everything you need to know. Continuous is exactly what it sounds like. Assessment isn't some big, scary event at the end. It's happening all the time, throughout the year. And comprehensive, that just means we're looking at the bigger picture. We're looking at scholastic stuff, your typical subjects, but we're also looking at co-scholastic areas, like life skills, art, and even sports, the whole shebang. Okay, I need you to lean in for this next part. We are about to decode what I like to call the preposition secret. Get this, and you'll unlock the answers to some of the trickiest, most common questions on the CTET. And I am not exaggerating one bit. This isn't just a helpful hint, it is absolutely crucial. The difference between assessment for, of, and as learning pops up in pretty much every single exam paper. Knowing this is like getting free points. You have to know it. So here's the secret sauce. Assessment for learning is what we call formative. The magic word here is feedback. It happens during the teaching process to help everyone improve. Think of it as a quick check-in. Then you have assessment of learning. That's summative. It's the final judgment, the grade you get at the end of the term. That's your traditional final exam. And finally, assessment as learning. This is all about the students themselves. It's when they monitor their own learning. Super powerful stuff. Is your head spinning a little? Don't worry. Here's the secret weapon, a little trick to make it all stick. Just connect the first letters. F in for is for formative and feedback. O in of is for the final outcome. And for as, just think of students assessing themselves. See? Simple? So here's the big takeaway, your CTET golden rule. When you're sitting in that exam and you see a question about this, always go with the option that involves observation or feedback. CCE is all about the ongoing process, so that will almost always beat an answer like term end exam.
Okay, enough with the theory. We've got the what and the why, so now let's get into the how. Let's look at the actual tools of the trade, what I call the teacher's winning toolkit for evaluation.
And inside this toolkit, there is one tool that the CTET absolutely loves. It's the gold standard. So let me ask you, what do you think is the single best tool for actually showing how a student has grown over time?
The number one, hands down, best answer, the tool that really captures the heart of CCE is
the portfolio. And here's why it's such a big deal. A portfolio tells a story. It's not just a snapshot from one test. It's a collection of a student's work, their drawings, their writing, their worksheets, all gathered over time. It's so powerful because it shows you that journey of progressive growth. Another tool you need to know is the anecdotal record. This is basically just a short, written note a teacher makes about something specific and important that a student did. Now, the key here, and you need to remember this, is that it has to be factual. It's an objective observation, not your personal judgment. At its core, CCE is all about finding and fixing gaps in learning. And it's a really simple, logical two-step dance. Step 1, you use a diagnostic test to figure out where the student is struggling. Step 2, you use remedial teaching to give them targeted help to fix that specific problem. Find the gap, fix the gap. That's it. Let's talk about the questions we ask. You've got close-ended questions, like multiple choice, where there's only one right answer. That's called convergent thinking. But the CTET absolutely favors open-ended questions. Why? Because they can have lots of right answers. They fire up creativity and what we call divergent thinking. We have covered a ton of ground, so let's boil it all down into a final rapid-fire cheat sheet. These are the absolute must-knows for your exam. You ready for this? First up, if you're ever asked what the best type of assessment is, the answer is
always formative. That's assessment for learning, because its whole purpose is immediate feedback.
Next, your number one tool. When it comes to showing real, authentic student growth over time, it's the portfolio, no question. And what's the whole point of all this? The core purpose, the very heart of CCE, is feedback. Not judgment, not ranking, but helpful feedback that actually leads to improvement. Fourth, a very specific tool you should know, especially for reading, is the Cloze test. You know, the fill-in-the-blanks passages. The exam loves this because it tests both comprehension and a student's ability to use context clues. And finally, let's bring it all back to the student. Empowering them to be in charge of their own growth, to track their own progress, that's the ultimate goal of assessment as learning. So there you have it. You've got the entire CCE toolkit. You know the what, the why, and the how. The real question isn't just about passing the exam anymore. It's about how you're going to take these tools and use them, not just to measure learning, but to actually inspire it.